Okay, so sit up nice and tall for me. And some of you guys weren't here every last 2 weeks. So I'm just going to recap a few things as always, as we did last week. But the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is sit up nice and tall. And anytime you sit to breathe, this is so important, right? I'll probably say this every time I teach any breath work, is that you want to try and have your hips above your knees. So you see how my hips are elevated here? I'm on a bolster or cushion. I know you might not have a bolster or cushion, but if you can, it's not the end of the world if you can't. If you can, try to elevate your hips above your knees, whether be sitting on your heels or even sitting on a chair or a couch, right? Because when you do that, when you don't do that and your knees are above your hips like this, you compress your lower back, right? And your sacrum and your pelvis pulls down on your lower lumbar, which means that we end up sitting like this after 2 minutes, or we end up fighting to sit up tall, neither of which we really want. So elevate your hips above your knees. Just place your hands on your thighs for me. And I like your elbows to fall into the sides of your body. And I want you to take your hands on your thighs and just lightly press down. Imagine you're trying to get the side of your body long, but try to keep your rib cage contained. Now just relax your shoulders and relax your hands, but try to keep your length in your spine. And just soften your face. Relax your face, relax your jaw. If you want, stick your tongue out for a moment. No one's watching, I promise. And I just, as always, we began the last 2 weeks the same way. I just want you to look at your breath. It's like any other relationship. Before you start to interact, communicate, you need to acknowledge one another. You need to see, you need to feel, you need to listen. Relax your shoulders a little bit for me, Alex. And then for the last 2 sessions, we've talked about breath being the expansion, right? Expansion of your rib cage, your chest, your back body, even your diaphragm into your belly, causing your belly to bulge a little bit. I just want you for a few breaths to try to extend your inhale, maybe to a count of about 4 or 5 seconds. Then there's a slight pause. Then you exhale for a count of about 4 or 5 seconds. Then you pause and just continue your breath like that, right? Relax your shoulders, Melanie, a little bit. So you always want to scan your body as well, right? You want to make sure you're not building tension or holding tension in your body. Like we mentioned before, sometimes it's better to lie on your back and breathe than sit up tall, right? And it's really nice to see you guys sitting still and able to still your body. So for the last few conscious breaths, just look at the breath move through your body. Maybe even see if you can feel your breath in the back of your body. Imagine your lungs to your back body. Imagine your ribs like gills of a fish. And on your next inhale, just bring your hands to your heart, your thumbs to your chest, just like you would in prayer. And I want to invite you to connect to the God of your understanding, whatever form that takes. And as always, we remember that everything has a potential to be prayer. Meditation, breath work, words we speak, everything we do. Our body is a living embodiment of prayer. So we ask that this practice be blessed and that the breath we breathe can help everyone else in our world who is currently struggling to breathe. We ask that the vibration and resonance we create, not just in our practice, but in our lives, be one of healing. And we ask that through this new relationship to our breath, that it give us the ability to show up every day from a place of more love, compassion, and understanding. Together we inhale. And we offer up our prayers, our intentions with our next exhale. Slowly lift your head, gently release your hands, and really slowly open your eyes. So I'm going to recap a little bit. I'm pulling you guys closer for a moment so I can see you, right? I'm going to recap a little bit what we did last week, the last 2 sessions before we get into some breath work, right? Because it's pretty important stuff. But before I do that, I'm really terrible at announcements, which should be done before we start our session. So I'm just going to run through them really quickly. One is actually really exciting. One is that I know we're not all in Trinidad, but for this weekend from tomorrow through Sunday, we've made a product on our online platform that is completely free. Because we know everyone's locked inside. We pretty much are on full 48-hour curfew free weekend lockdown. Can't leave our homes. So if we can't go outside, why not go inside? So we've created this amazing content library from our content library. And so if you go on to beyondyogatv.com, you'll see a product mark free weekend access. And you can register for it. It's free, and you can join all our live streams from tomorrow morning till Sunday afternoon for free. And you get access to this amazing, some classes we put together in your content library in that product, right? And there are meditations, there are pranayama breathwork sessions, and there are yoga practices. So please enjoy it if you're not already on your platform, and share it with all your friends. And if you're not in Trinidad and you're not in lockdown, then we love you anyway. Take advantage of it, right? Our way of giving back a little bit. Second announcement is that our last breathwork session is next week. And then a week after that, on July 1st, I will be doing my first official book reading. Even though my book is not published yet, or I don't have an agent yet, it will very soon. And I'll be reading the entire first chapter of my book. And that as well is free. And you can register for it. Just how we got into this class, go to July 1st, you'll see book reading, click register, right? It will not be recorded. So you have to watch it live. All right, breathwork now. You guys ready? See, yeah, give me a nod because you're all muted, so I can't see you. Good. All right, so just to recap a few things that we did for the last 2 sessions, right? Which are all really important. And I talk about them a lot, but we can never hear them enough. So if you heard it already, just sit and see if something else comes to you from it, right? So again, we looked at the importance of breath and the ability it has to impact our lives. So in a nutshell, what we spoke about was that, in the West and in the last few decades or so, I want to stress that it's not that we've been lied to, but there's a huge bulk of information that has been forgotten and lost. And that is the reality that our physical body, our mental, emotional body, and our spiritual body are all directly connected. They are not separate. And anything that happens on a physical level happens affects your spiritual body. Anything that happens on an emotional level affects your physical body, right? And the simplest way to connect those dots, example I often use, is that if we're highly stressed for relationship reasons, family reasons, or work reasons, or whatever, your body gets tense. All the muscles of your body begin to contract. Your mind and your emotional states gets anxious, right? And you get very high strung, and your breath gets very shallow and fast. If you go for massage and you release that physical tension, your mind releases the anxiety. You get restful in your thoughts, and your breath begins to slow down. Now, your breath is the king of it all, right? The mind is the king of our entire experience of life, right? Like the example I may have used 2 weeks ago. If I told you this wall behind me was white, you could not tell me otherwise unless I chose to believe that. That's how powerful my mind is, and yours. And the mind writes narratives and creates all these stories about the world we live in, and it shapes our entire experience. So your mind is king of everything, but your breath is king of your mind. Sorry, that's your mind, that's your breath, that's your breath. Your breath is king of your mind, right? Meaning that if you have your breath in your toolbox and you have a relationship to your breath, anytime life goes a little out of alignment or appears to go out of alignment or out of whack, you can draw on your breath. So very often it's asked, well, sorry if I'm repeating myself, guys, but important stuff. It's asked, well, are we supposed to walk around breathing like this all day long? For you guys who know dry breath, you guys who don't, you'll know it by the end of this session. And the question is, of course, the answer is, of course not, right? But your breath and the intelligence of your body has muscle memory. Think of it as muscle memory. Just like your body has muscle memory, so does the energetic intelligence of your spiritual, mental, emotional body. So if your body knows it has your breath in the toolbox and it has a relationship to your breath in its toolbox, then at any point in time, when shit hits the fan, your breath is there. It can pull on your breath. Your breath keeps you in alignment. And if anything throws you out of alignment, you can use your breath. And in 5 breaths, 1 minute, you can bring it back and you're grounded and centered again. But if you don't have that relationship to your breath, then you have nothing to draw on. So what ends up happening is we live in this hamster wheel of fight and flight, like we're under attack and we're fighting to survive, right? So everything is go, 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 do. And at no point can we just stop, right? So breath is the ability to do all of that. And often when people start a meditation practice, they say, well, I can't just shut my mind up. Well, for one, you don't want to shut your mind up, right? Your mind's natural state is to create. And again, I may have mentioned this example before, but would you want to come home and tell your spouse to shut up? Of course not. You'll sleep on the couch, right? You'll get kicked out of the house. What you want to do is create a relationship with your mind and your breath. And the only way to do that is to spend time. Sit with your mind, sit with your breath. If it says something you don't like, just listen, understand where it's coming from, but don't try to shut it up. Cool? Okay. I know for some of you guys, if you're in it for the first time, it's a lot, but take it in, take it in. We also talked about how we place so much focus on the things we eat, right? We're gluten-free, we're dairy-free, we're vegetarian, this, that. And then we put all this focus on our exercise and our fitness and the six-pack abs and the slim waistline and all that stuff. But it's so important to remind ourselves that we breathe 24,000 times a day, and we can't live more than 3-4 minutes without a breath. Your breath is the most essential thing you have. And it doesn't matter, not say this stuff is not important, but you can eat the best diet ever. You can do exercise or whatever every day. But if you're not breathing properly, it's useless. It's like pouring water into a bucket that has a hole. It's absolutely useless, right? So I wouldn't say useless, but you're missing the bulk of it. Your breath is the center of all of it, right? Not very often do we say, well, how are you breathing? How often you go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, how are you breathing? That's the first thing a doctor should ask. And they might have doctors in this room, and I'm pretty sure they'll agree. They'll agree, like they know this stuff, right? But that's what we should be looking at first. How are we breathing? The breath is what creates equilibrium and balance throughout our entire body, right? And then we talked about trauma and emotions and all that stuff. And this is really important because right now, like I mentioned, our entire world is in a state of PTSD. And maybe not even PTSD because we haven't even, Katie, give me a thumbs up. I could see you. Wicked. Sorry about that. Internet in the bush, it happens. Okay, so I could come home to a spouse or lover and I can say, well, good morning, how was your day? And all this excitement and all this love. And maybe she had a really bad day and she just doesn't really give me time of day. That's trauma. You may not acknowledge it consciously, but that lands in your body as emotional stress and trauma. Now, one way we can deal with this is seeing some comments coming in, but I'm glad you're back. Okay, one way we can deal with this is yoga practice, moving our physical body. Another way we can deal with it is therapy, talk therapy, right? Another way we can deal with it is breath work. But the point is there's energy stored in our body by our daily living experiences, and we have to move it, right? We have to move it. And this is part of that. This is part of us creating and keeping that balance, right? Okay, a few more things I want to talk about, just the anatomy of the breath, and we just have a few more minutes, good? So we talked about one, breathing through your nose. Try not to breathe through your mouth unless you absolutely have to. Even if you're doing physical exercise, breathing through your nose is so much more beneficial and it actually increases your performance. And we talked about the anatomy of the breath, right? And I'm going to go through this really quick because I have one more thing I want to talk about that to me is the most important thing in the world. Almost. Yeah, it is pretty much. Anyway, the anatomy of the breath. You don't pull air into your body. When you inhale, you do not pull air into your body, right? How your breath works is an expansion, it's a vacuum. So the more space you can create by expanding your ribcage, expanding the back of your body, and your diaphragm descending into your body, the more you can increase the volume of your thoracic cavity, it decreases the air pressure inside of you. So then what happens is the air pressure outside of you is higher than the air pressure inside of you, and the air moves inside of you to create balance. This is not yoga mumbo jumbo. This is the anatomy of breath that we should have been taught many times growing up and probably were never taught. So long story short is this. When you breathe, your diaphragm descends, and your breath moves up into your chest. But that's not all. Your rib cage needs to expand like gills of a fish. Your back body needs to expand like you had wings of an angel. And your sternum lifts. Your whole body in 3-4 dimensions has to expand to receive your breath, right? And also remember, you don't want to strain your breath. You're in a relationship with your breath. So while we go through this breath work, I don't want you feeling any tension building up in your body. And if you do, just let everything go, stop, and rejoin the practice when you're ready. Good? You don't, when you inhale, you never want to be like, it's not a competition. It's a relationship. It's very different, right? So that's a little crash course in the anatomy of breath. If you want more and you missed the last 2 sessions, unfortunately, you may have to go back and look at them, right? But what this means, before we jump on to the next point, is that if you get this, if the muscles of your body are tight, you are not breathing properly. Forget the lower back pain, forget the knees, forget the hips. All that is secondary. If your hamstrings, if your calves, if your quads, if your sides of your body, if your muscles of your shoulders and back are tight, you cannot expand your body to receive your breath. Right? So that is one really important reason why we need to start to release physical tension within our body. Now, I'm going to just touch on this point, and on the next session, I'll talk about it more, right? And I don't like to tell you, breath is this, or this is this, or this is this, because I don't want you just regurgitating information. I want you to feel it for yourself. So something very influential in my life happened. One, when I began to understand the power of breath and how it moved in my yoga practice, but this is not a yoga session, so just think of it otherwise, right? When I started to lengthen my breath and really look at my relationship to my breath, there was something that happened. And I could feel it within me. And just to get to a point really quick, I'll give you a story next time, but something brought me to acknowledge and realize that the word spirit, like the Holy Spirit, like some people would call God spirit, that word spirit comes from the Latin word spiritus, and it means to breathe. And I began to look at my breath moving in and out of me 20,000 times a day as part of my relationship to my understanding of God. It is get this, it's the one thing, forget race, skin color, bloodline, DNA. Breath is the one thing that connects every living creature on the planet. Right now, we're here probably on 6, 7 different continents, and we have all breathed the same air. Breath is the one thing that connects all of us. So on that note, I just want to invite you to consider breath. Listen to breath, feel the breath, and spend time with the breath, because I have come to 100% believe that and feel that it does affect our relationship to our understanding of God in a very real way. Now, with all my blabbing done, sit up nice and tall for me. And I'm going to invite some new breathing practices today. And you guys know, some of you guys, that if you're sitting up and you need to lie on your back because sitting is uncomfortable, lie on your back. If at any point you need to sit on a chair or switch across of your legs, please do, right? I'm going to take you guys back a little bit. So sit up nice and tall. Just close your eyes. Soften your breath. And just see if you can come into stillness. An element of stillness. And you don't really need your eyes for this just yet, but you do need your ears. So just pay attention. I want to introduce you to what we would call Ujjayi breathing. So Ujjayi breathing is a breathing through your nose, and it's smooth and long, but it's audible. There's a whisper to your breath, right? So I want you to think of it this way. Imagine you were trying to blow the candle through your mouth, or trying to fog up a mirror through your mouth, or trying to breathe through your mouth, but your mouth is closed. So see if you can get that for me. What is happening? You should start to hear a slight resonance of your breath. And you should feel the breath vibrate on the back of the throat. And now we're just going to do a few rounds together with a slight retention on the breath, right? We're not going for a long breath, just 4-second inhale, 4-second exhale. Remember to feel it in the sides of your body, your back body, and even your lower abdomen, right? So come to the bottom of your exhale and pause. You should hear that whisper stop. Then inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, pause. You should hear that whisper stop. Exhale now for 4, 3, 2, pause. You should hear that whisper stop again. Inhale for a count of 4. Feel it in your rib cage, in the sides of your body, in your back body. Pause. Exhale for a count of 4. Try and keep the back of your neck long so your chin lightly descends towards your chest. Pause. Inhale for 4. Pause. Exhale for 4. Pause. And I want you to keep going on your own. Keep going on your own. Maybe you want to extend it to 4, 5, 6-second count. That's okay. But I want you to feel the movement in your torso. Feel the expansion and contraction of your rib cage. Feel the expansion and contraction of your back body. Feel your diaphragm descend into your abdomen. Feel it lift, the rise and fall of your sternum and your chest. At the same time, relax your shoulders. Try not to hold tension within your body. And then slowly release. Slowly release your breath. Gently open your eyes. So breathwork, breathing practice doesn't take long, right? That's why we only actually breathe for about 15 minutes each session. Next session, we're going to try and breathe for about 30 minutes. But I want to give you tools and practices you can do, right? So the next practice we're going to do is one we call Kapalabhati, which I'm very cautious about teaching because it can create more anxiety if you get too attached to doing it correctly. Also, if you have high blood pressure or heart conditions, it could be a little tricky, but I'm going to teach it in small doses. So some of you are familiar with Kapalabhati. And what it is really quick exhales, just using your diaphragm, right? So I'm going to place my hands here so you can see. Don't do it yet. Just look at me for a moment. So notice that my upper body isn't moving. Just my belly is moving, right? My diaphragm and my belly. So I'm going to inhale. And you can probably hear my exhale. I'll try to exaggerate. Right? So the only thing moving is the abdominal muscles are working and the diaphragm is snapping up. Every exhale, the diaphragm snaps up towards your lungs, right? Now get this. Our friend COVID-19 is a virus that settles in lower lungs. This is a practice that we should all be doing if we can every morning. But you don't want to strain yourself or your breath. Normally, I might teach this 100 times per set. I might do it for 4 minutes straight. Today, all we're going to do is sets of 10. 3 sets of 10. So that means 1, 2, 3, right? Just 10 times. Inhale, get this. Inhale is not active. So it's not. Inhale is simply a release of your stomach and your abdominal muscles. When you release your stomach and abdominal muscles, your diaphragm relaxes and air moves inside of you. You don't have to pull it inside of you, right? Really important note. If in doing this, in this next few minutes, you feel anxiety or you feel tense, just stop. Stop and you'll join us on the next round. And don't judge yourself for it. This takes time, right? Mm-hmm. Good. Give me a nod. Ready? Good. Sit down nice and tall for me. Those of you who have this practice, if you want to just go for a nice long set, go ahead. You're on your own. But I'm going to teach 3 sets of 10 breaths, right? Mm-hmm. So sit up nice and tall, long through side body. If you want to lie on your back, lie on your back, elbows fall in. Hey, Benjamin. Good. Sit up nice and tall. Just come to the bottom of your exhale and pause. Now take 1 normal inhale. Take 1 normal exhale. Now I'm going to clap to catch out time, right? Take 1 more breath for me. I see we have some older, more mature, really wise people in our class today. Just be really careful with how this feels, right? If it doesn't feel good to you, please don't do it. So come to the bottom of your next exhale. Now just inhale halfway. And now let's go with the snap in the stomach, the diaphragm. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. And just pause and hold. And now exhale. If you have a practice, you can do your own set, right? No problem. I'm just being really cautious. Remember, guys, just feel the abdominal muscles working, right? Even if you just could do 2 or 3, then great. That's better than nothing. Come to the bottom of your exhale and pause. Let's take 1 inhale together. And exhale. Come to the bottom of your exhale. Inhale halfway. And we go again. Three, 2, 1. Inhale. Hold. Remember, don't stress it. Don't create tension. Nice, smooth exhale. Just allow your breath to release. We're just going to do 1 more set. If you're really new to this, you might feel like you just, after doing this for about 20 minutes, you might feel like you just did 100 sit-ups, Yvonne. Come to the bottom of your exhale and pause. Let's go for 1 more. 1 nice, long, smooth inhale. 1 long, smooth exhale. Inhale halfway. And we begin. Three, 2, 1. Inhale. pause, and exhale. Allow your breath to soften, allow your breath to release. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. And I'm just going to introduce you guys. Just allow your breath to sit for a moment. I'm going to introduce you to one more breathing practice before we close, and it's called Chandra Vedana. So just open your eyes for a moment so you can see me. I'm going to pull you close. So in this practice, you're going to pull your two peace fingers in, like peace. Pull them in. And you're going to use your ring finger and your thumb to open and close your nostrils, right? Now, sometimes we think it's pinching your nostril. You're not actually pinching your nostrils, right? You're just moving. Look at my forearm. You're going to move your forearm to your right and to your left, so that the fingers gently press on the nape of your nostril to close one nostril at a time. Good. So all we're going to do, Chandra Vedana, we're going to inhale through your left nostril, exhale out your right. And then we're going to inhale through your left again. So we're going to keep this cycle going. Inhale through your left, exhale out your right, right? Sometimes we do below alternate nostril, which is inhaling through both. All we're doing tonight is inhale through your left, exhale out your right. We're going to do 4 rounds. And then I'm going to leave you to either continue on your own or we're going to close our practice, right? So sit up nice and tall. Lift your right hand, or you could use your left hand. Draw your peace fingers in. Some people also instruct placing it on the forehead if that's easier for you. So then you have your ring finger, your peace finger. Bring it up to your nose. Come to the bottom of your exhale and pause. Take one normal inhale through both nostrils. One normal exhale through both nostrils. Then you're going to move your arm to your left so you close your right nostril. Then inhale through your left nostril. And then move your arm to your right so you close your left nostril. Exhale out your right nostril. Then you're going to close your right nostril. Inhale through your left. Then close your left, exhale out your right. Then close your right, inhale through your left again. Close your left, exhale out your right again. Now close your right, inhale through your left. Close your left, exhale out your right. We're going to go for one more. Close your right, inhale through your left. Close your left nostril, exhale out your right. Now you can keep going if you like, inhaling through your left, exhaling out your right, or you could just release your right hand and just allow your breath to come back into you. Just find stillness, come to sit. And then you can either remain seated or come to lie on your back and find Shavasana or corpse pose. Palms will turn up, toes will turn out. Just kind of lie on your back. Allow your ribcage, allow your body to get heavy. Maybe place a little pillow behind your head if you like. And whether you're seated or lying on your back, just find some stillness and allow yourself to rest. Release your breath altogether. Divine in me acknowledges the divine within yourself and all living things as I say namaste.